નમસ્કાર, હું આદર્શ છું. વેલકમ ટુ આદર્શ એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી. Dear student, today we have to learn the chapter number 1, subject social science, standard 9. The name of the chapter is Rise of the British Rule in India. Since the ancient period, India has enjoyed an incomparable position in the whole world due to its economic, cultural and religious inheritance. What they have to given here, children? They have to given that India has enjoyed an incomparable position. Incomparable, it means not other nation was ready to compare with India in the whole world due to its economical, cultural and religious inheritance. Due to the economic prosperity and cultural inheritance, people from the different nations of the world came to the India. Now what happened there? Due to our economic prosperity, what happened there? Due to our economical prosperity and cultural inheritance, people from the different nations of the world came to the India, and there was a lot of demand for the Indian spices, muslin, silk, cloth, indigo, etc. in the European country. These all are the name of the commodity they were used demand in the European nation. Trade between India and Europe was carried out through the land route and sea route. Here which route they have to given that? They have to given that the trade was to be carried out with the two route. One is a land route and second one is a sea route. And at the center of this route was Istanbul, and it is also known as the Constantinople in Turkey. After the consequence of Constantinople in 1453, which year? Here in 1453, the consequence of the Constantinople by the which people? By the Turkish Muslim people, and the sea route through the Constantinople was closed for the European. It means now what happened there? Turkish people control the main trading center who connect the India and Europe, and that's why now India and Europe trade was to be the stops. Since they could not do without the spices, the European felt and compelled to discover a new sea route. Now what happened that India and Europe trade was to be the stops, and that's why the European people felt that they have to discover a new sea route who joined the India and Europe. So an era of geographically discovery begins. Now the discovery of sea route to the India with the inspiration, encouragement and economical help from the Portuguese king Prince Henry, and some brave people begins effort to discover the new sea routes. Now dear children, what they have to given there? Due to the inspiration, who give the inspiration? Portuguese king Prince Henry. Brave people begins effort to discover the new sea routes. Many great men try to discover the sea route to the India, and that's why what happened that many great men try to discover a new sea route to the India, and the namely now they have to given the name, and the name of the person is Bartholomew Dice. Bartholomew Dice, who discovered the Cape of Good Hope with the economic assistance from the king of the Spain. Christopher Columbus began his adventure of discovering a new sea route. After what happened there? Christopher Columbus also was started to find out the discovering a new sea route, which again came to a stop at an island and presently known as the West Indies. Now what happened? Columbus was tried to find out the sea route to the India, but he cannot find out the sea route to the India. He find out the America, and presently in America they find the one island, and the island name is West Indies, situated into the Atlantic Ocean. Columbus, who had believed throughout his life that he had discovered a new sea route to the India, had actually discovered a new land. Now what happened there? Here Columbus believed that he was find out a new sea route to the India, but he cannot find out a new sea route to the India. He find out a new island, and it is the name as a West Indies. Since this clarification was made by this clarification was to be given by the name of the person, and the name of that person was Amerigo Vespucci, who is given that clarification by given by Amerigo Vespucci, and this new land begins to be known as America. It means the Columbus was find out a new land, and it is known as America. Now dear children, here you have to given about the sea route to the India. Here just you have to see about here Cape of Good Hope is there, here Kochi is there, here Calicut is there, same way here Mozambique is there, and same way if you have to see here they have to given about the Lisbon, Portugal. Here they have to given about the map of sea route to the India. The Portuguese sailor Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to the India in 1498. Now what happened that dear children, here given that the Portuguese sailor, who is the Portuguese sailor? Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to the India. It means who discovered the sea route to the India? Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to the India in which year? In 1498. When he reached the Calicut in the western coast of the India, he was welcomed by the King Jamorin and allowed to carry out the business there. Who gave the permission the Vasco da Gama to do the trade with the India? The King Jamorin allowed carry out the business there, give the permission to the Vasco da Gama. Thus this is the considered as an important event in the world, as this opened the doors for other European to come to the India. It means first of all Portuguese take the permission to do the trade with the India, and after other European nation was came to the India, and now India was open the door for the European people to the trade. Now arrival of the Europeans in India. The Portuguese were the first to arrive in India for the trade after the discovery of the sea route to the India. Now who first arrived to India for the trade? Then Portuguese were the first to arrive the India for the trade to discover the sea route to the India. Within the span of the 100 years, the Portuguese took control the several territories. It means within the 100 years, the Portuguese took control in several territory. Now which territory the Portuguese have control? Diu, Daman, Goa, Kochi, Malacca. These all are the territory where the Portuguese took the control this territory. Inspired by the Portuguese success in trade, the Dutch from the which nation? From Holland, and the Danish from Denmark arrived in India for the trade. The English trader established the East India Company to carry out the trade with India. Now what happened there? English trader established which company? English trader established the East India Company to carry out the trade with in India in which year? In 1600. Now who gave the permission to the English trader East India Company? The Queen Elizabeth of the England gave the permission to the East India Company to carry out the trade with the eastern country. The first ship under the leadership of the Captains William Hawkins arrived in Surat. It means from the England, first ship was came to the India under the leadership of Captain William Hawkins arrived in Surat. But due to the dominance and opponents from the Portuguese, they were not allowed to establish the trade there. What happened then? Here the Portuguese ruler opposition from the English trader, and that's why here the English trader not given the permission to do the trade with India. But finally the East India Company got the permission from the Mughal Emperor. Now Here they have to given about the European colony. Jahangir. Now who gave the permission to the British East India Company? The Mughal Emperor Jahangir gave the permission to the British East India Company, and that's why they established its first trade center, Kothi, in Surat in 1630, and that's why British East India Company first established the trade center in Surat in which year? In 1630. Initially, the company established its trade center in Surat, Bharuch and Ahmedabad. But due to the strong presence of Maratha in this region, the company sensed the dangerous to its existence and hence is moved towards the south and east direction. Now what happened that here the Maratha increased the region and Maratha now was become the stronger, and that's why company feel that now he is in dangerous, and that's why they have to move towards the south and east direction, where they set up their center in Machilipatnam in Andhra Pradesh, St. George in Chennai, Fort William in Calcutta, Mumbai become their headquarters in 1687. The French East India Company arrived in India for the trade 1668. In which year the French East India Company arrived in India? 1668. And eventually set up the trade center. Now they have to establish the trade center in Mahe, Karaikal, Pondicherry, it is known as a Puducherry, Chandranagar, Machilipatnam, etc. These all are the trading center were established by the French East India Company. In 18th century, English and French were constantly busy, established the rule in entire world and conquering the more territory. Now what happened then? Here, English versus French, both are the competitor with each other and both are busy to expansion of their rule into the India and they have to increase their territory. Between 1746 and 1763, there were the three Mysore War between French East India Company and the British East India Company. What happened there? Between 1746 to 1763, three Mysore War between two company, French East India Company and the British East India Company, and both are from the European nation. And that's why in India with the French East India Company lost the war, and thus making easy the expansion of the British East India Company. Thus at the end of the battle for the power, the Portuguese were left with the Diu, Daman, Goa, while French had their trade center at Chandranagar, Mahe, after Karaikal and Pondicherry. Meanwhile, the Dutch has to live forever. Thank you for joining us.